Hey, turkeys, this is Dan and Margie, and we're the Gen-Xers. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
How you doing this week, Margie?
I'm doing pretty good.
Me too, and we've got a big show coming up for everyone. We've got a brief follow-up on our popular gate video.
Mhm.
We're going to read and talk about some of the more common sort of responses we got. We'll have a bigger follow-up coming soon because we got a lot of information, frankly.
Yeah,
And we've talked about it more
yeah.
and done a little bit more research. So, yeah. On this show, we're going to look at some Mandela effects. We've covered those before. It's one of the things we like to do. Seems to occupy people of our generation's minds a little bit. We're going to look at some new ones and plus talk a little bit about some of the theory about where they come from.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we've found more Mandela effects, more universes, apparently. So, yeah, we'll be talking about that later on.
Yeah, and we're going to do a review of Crossroads 1986.
That's right.
Good friend Ralph Macchio, friend of the show. I'm trying to manifest that.
Friend and...
Ralph Macchio is going to be a friend of the show.
Let's manifest it correctly. Friend and sponsor of the show.
Ralph Macchio.
Right?
That's right. So, it's been a busy week show-wise. Otherwise, we're NBA fans. We've been keeping up with the finals. Mm-hmm. You're happy because Oklahoma's ahead.
I'm happy today, but that could change. As we all know, anybody who's keeping up with these finals, it is a back and forth.
Yeah.
And I hate to admit, but both teams are tough, including the Pacers.
This Indiana team is a scrappy bunch. Man. It's hard not to end up admiring them, even if they're not the team you're rooting for.
Right. At this point, and I said this before the finals began. No matter what, we were going to get a good show, and boy, have we.
I like this series. It's a throwback to 90s basketball, which is my favorite era, I guess. There's a lot of really good defense being played by both teams. Both teams are deep. They're not over-relying on the three-pointer. I mean, there's way more three-pointers than there were in the 90s, but SGA, Halliburton, they'll take it to the hole, man.
Yeah. And there's a really, I think another thing that reminds me of the 90s style of play is the reliance on, just the teams, just the teaming up of, we remember people, Stockton and Malone.
Yeah.
The famous duo, the people that were helping each other get those, just the fantastic duos and trios and full teams. We're really seeing that.
Let's hope the super team era is over. It's been kind of a failure anyway, if you ask me. Very few of those teams did that great. They might win one or two, but these 10-year runs people were imagining when they put them together never happened.
No, because I think, of course there's trades and all that stuff. It's never organic. But, the legacy teams back in the day occurred way more organically than they have been occurring with the let's stack everybody on this team or that team. And that's what made them the super teams. Because when you throw a bunch of people together and that magic happens, you can't recreate it. Yeah. You can't manufacture that. It just comes. But you got to let it happen. So.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my analysis anyway of the NBA.
When it's not raining, boy, I'm the greatest transitioner. You people new to the podcast, you're going to find that out. No one transitions like old Dan here. When it's not raining, Margie, you've been out there doing a whole lot of gardening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't lately. So I actually meant to get up and go out there today. But I've been taking care of the garden. It's been coming along nicely. But I meant to get up and go work in it today. And then I thought...
Bluetooth connected.
That's not what I thought. I meant to go work in it today. And I thought... I was actually headed out there. And all of a sudden I was like, no, you know what? Because it's going to rain. It's going to rain tonight. And I thought, no, let's just relax about the garden and let's see what the universe does with the garden. And I was actually thinking about our our really deep conversation that we had the other day about listening to the universe and about the lost art of waiting for the universe to kind of tell you what it wants.
Yeah.
And then I thought that is my new favorite way to procrastinate now. It's lovely.
I guess if you're going to procrastinate, that is the best way to do it.
It is.
Don't stress out about it. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Just let the universe handle it.
You heard Nike. Just do it. Just try the opposite.
Just don't
do it. Put that on a mug, Marge.
Yeah,
You gotta get some merch going.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
With whatever the opposite of the Nike symbol is.
Look, your gardening is a testament to persistence. When we first got married, you would tell me, you're like, I cannot keep a plant alive. I don't know why. They always die. At first you had no interest in it, but you kind of did. Your stepdad is a great gardener.
Yeah.
It's a little here and there every summer. Plant a little of this, a little of that. Get better and better. And now you've just gotten better and better and better. You love it. It seems like your favorite hobby. You're out there doing it all the time. You got all kinds of good stuff growing out there that I'm going to be cooking some delicious meals into.
Well, I appreciate your confidence. Yeah.
It's admirable how you've worked hard at this to become good at it.
Well, I'm telling you, one of the only reasons was that when I started doing it, I found that I enjoyed it. I was like, well,
always helps, yeah.
darn. Now I gotta do more. So yeah, it's definitely just like anything else. It's always a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's always a work in progress. So I probably have several plants out there that are dying or near death. I don't know, because I let the universe take care of it today. But I have a feeling the universe is going to take care of it today, and I'll go out there and take care of it again tomorrow.
I think they'll be fine, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here, I don't know how to transition into this, Marge.
Sure, no, that was great.
Listen, people, we got to talk about that gate video.
Yeah.
It has done really well for us. Thank you to all our new subscribers, and especially thank you to everyone who has shared their story. Like I said, we're going to do a big follow-up to this because we've learned a lot. But I did want to talk about some of these comments. They're just fascinating, and no way we can go through them all. We've got hundreds of them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go over some of the ones that seem typical, kind of, more than one person posted a similar thing.
Mm-hmm. And once again, we got a ton of responses, and thank you to everyone who responded to us, and to everyone who hit like and subscribed.
This one is from I Have Seen Such Things. Great name, by the way.
Yeah.
Fits this topic. I see a lot of people commenting about their perfectly normal gate experiences, no memory of being tested for extrasensory perception or hypnotized in the manner of the Moreau Institute Gateway Experience Training. More on that in a bit. Well, I was brought into gate in the 80s and early 90s and very much experienced the things in this video and more. I could write a book.
Wow.
I would say you should. I'm a firm believer that if you've got something in here that needs to come out or a creative thing, you should just do it. Whether or not it's successful or works out isn't always the point. Being creative is good for a person, whether you're good at it or not.
Well, like you said with my garden, the discovery is the fun part of it.
Yeah.
The going out there and going, well, that didn't work. Let me try this. I mean, that's very cathartic. And yeah, if you have something that you want to tell, you should get it out.
Tell your story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This one's from DB. OMG. Where did you find the person say they didn't want to go? I have almost no memories from my childhood. Neither does my mother for some reason. But when I just asked her what they told her about my GATE program, she said, I don't remember. The only thing I remember about your childhood in school was when you were crying so hard you were hysterical and begged me not to go to school again. I was so worried and kept asking you what happened, but you wouldn't tell me. I had to let your grandma try to pull you out. Whatever.
Wow.
That was me. I hated going to school, and I can't remember why, but I would always try to tell my mom I was sick, and then once I got there, I'd tell my teacher I was sick. Well, before speech class, by the way, and I needed to go home. Like, I would do this every day, especially second grade. That was the big, well, first and second grade, yeah.
See, I didn't have those memories. I was always pretty eager to go to school. I liked school. It was a great social place for me, and I did Fairly well. I wasn't the greatest at math or the sciences. I was interested in the sciences, not the math. But yeah, I didn't have that experience when I was having that, the weird speech class that I had.
In full disclosure, I didn't want to. The very first day of kindergarten, I screamed and cried. I didn't want to go. I never really liked school until about 12th grade, maybe. Ironically enough, I went into education for my career.
Right.
Speaking, I just quickly about math. I was never into math as a young student either. Mostly because I never had a teacher to get me interested in it. If any teacher would have told me math is the language of the universe and the key to understanding the mysteries of the universe, yeah, I would have studied a lot harder.
Yeah, same.
But all they told me was, hey, it's for balancing your checkbook. And I thought, well, my parents are poor. I'll probably be poor. So I'm just going to read this book.
Easy to balance this checkbook. It's one penny to another.
Yeah, I covered carrying the one last year. I'm set.
Right.
Let's see. They test for various paranormal abilities. I was in the program before GATE called MGM, Mentally Gifted Minors. I wanted to bring this one up. I think this is from Cedar River. Several people said that they had similar things under different names in the 60s and 70s at their schools. So we talked about how in the early 80s it seemed a lot of people, they're telling it was a speech class before, a lot of this stuff started happening with GATE. Allegedly.
Well, maybe when we follow up, we can look into other programs that might be similar or related.
Yeah, and you folks watching, you boomers or older or whatever, any memories you've got, if you don't mind sharing them, please do. It'll help us with our...
Yeah, if you're not Gen Xers and you're watching this, that's okay. And come on in.
Veronica, y'all blowing my mind how much I forgot. Just thought it was a speech class I got in because of my handwriting. This is so strange. I wanted to bring that one up because as far as I knew, I was the only person that got that excuse. Your handwriting is so bad, we've got to go give you all these tests with Zinner cards and whatever. But no, someone else too, apparently.
Yeah.
And then, putting to speech like both of us were.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, even if there was a GATE at that time, no one was going to mistake me for gifted.
Oh, now come on.
Speech, yes. Finally, when Cosmic Groove, another great name. When I first heard the Gateway tapes, recently, before I even saw all the GATE regulations on YouTube, the computer noise at the beginning of the Monroe's voice or whatever was so familiar and couldn't place it. Then it came together after seeing these videos. Us too, listening to those tapes really brought back some stuff that convinced us we needed to investigate into this a little bit, even though it's not our typical kind of thing, but yeah.
Well, like I said, whenever I sat down to listen to them and that memory popped fully formed into my brain that I had, it wasn't something that I eventually, it came into view or whatever. I was back there in the speech room, in the little, separated desk with the headphones on. So yeah, we should definitely listen to those tapes sometime in full.
No, we should. I think we should try them. Well, we talked about this a little bit, but I think, we should try them for a month. Separately. Report back.
Like
our experience.
Independently listen to the tapes.
Mm-hmm. Try this program.
And fully try the program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then individually, we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll compare notes right here on the channel.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. We're going to do that for our follow-up to the follow-up on the GATE program.
Expect that video in about a month and a half, folks. All right. Speaking of gates, I think there was one in the movie Crossroads.
Good one. That's an excellent one. You're getting better at these.
You know what would have been better if I'd have said, speaking of disappointments of our youth, which obviously this stuff would be, our recurring segment, Disappointments of Our Youth. We look back at stuff we loved in our youth to see if it still holds up today. We've all had that experience where we go back to watch something that we thought was the bee's knees when we were younger, only to be like, boy, this is either just badly written and acted, cringy, or even worse,
or I had
Not fit for civilization anymore.
very questionable taste back in the day. And I don't recall that ever happening. But that's true.
And this is a 1986 Ralph Macchio Crossroads, not the Britney Spears one, which might also be good. I don't know. I've never seen it.
I've never seen that one either. But yeah, if you're looking this movie up to watch, and you'll just have to watch our review to see if you should look it up and watch it, you're going to have to look it up by year. So it's the 1986 Crossroads, Ralph Macchio, not Britney Spears.
By the way, I've hired Skeletor as our producer. Roll that footage.
All right, guys, we just watched Crossroads, not the Britney Spears one, the Ralph Macchio one. Which one is that? The one made in 1986. We decided to watch it again to see if it holds up, because we used to like it. If that movie holds up, or if it's just another
Disappointments of our youth.
All right, Margie, this movie stars Ralph Macchio, Joe Seneca, and your archenemy, for some reason, Jamie Gertz.
She's not my arch enemy.
I think I've got video footage from our Lost Boys review to prove otherwise.
Okay.
Let's go back to that right now.
Kiefer Sutherland, Jason Patrick, the Coreys, Jamie Gertz.
Hey, when it comes to an 80s movie, Jamie Goitz never hoits.
You better stop with your crush.
Like you said, 1986, I loved this movie, and when we started rewatching it, I could still quote a lot of it, even though I've not watched it in years. Me and my friend Dave, one summer, watched this every night. Much to your chagrin, we were older then. I mean, I was an adult. We had kids. We watched it every night one summer because we had started our own band. And we were a lot like these guys. We were a black guy and a white guy. But that's where the similarities ended. We were not prodigies. We had a couple shows.
I love that you specified that this was when you and Dave were adults, because it does sound as if it's the summer spent between 6th grade and 7th grade with your best buds.
No.
Watching Crossroads every day. But yes, that actually happened, and I was there to see it all.
So it centers around the legend that Robert Johnson, famous blues man, sold his soul to Lucifer at the Crossroads to become such a good guitar player.
I thought, speaking of, you said it's the tale of Robert Johnson. It's a really cool new way to hear this fable. For those of you who are familiar with it's pretty, it's myth, it's legend, that he sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads to play guitar so good. This is they do a really good way of telling this in a whole new way, because you get it through a couple of different lenses.
Yeah, like I said, it centers around that legend, and you've got to suspend your disbelief, and buy into that, or otherwise it's just a movie about an old guy in the final stages of dementia.
Right. Either way, heartwarming.
So anyway, Ralph Macchio plays Eugene Martone, which I would love to get a Eugene Martone cutout to put back there with Johnny. I think they'd be best friends. If anybody knows where to get one. Picture this, folks. Here's a quote, 1986 from Ralph Macchio. I'm a blues man. Just let that sink in for a minute.
Right.
Said with a complete straight face.
I'm a blues man.
He's not. Notoriously, this movie has bad guitar finger acting. Like, he is not playing anything near. But Eugene wants to be a blues man. And he gets wind that Robert Johnson's old harmonica player, Willie Brown, is in this nursing home somehow. I don't know how you get that information, especially well before the internet. Like, this is some real stalking behavior, now that I think about it.
It's way bad. I don't know what blueprints or city lists he got a hold of, but
yeah,
it can't be good how he got this information. I don't know.
He goes to the nursing home. Willie don't want to talk to him. So he gets a job there. Another red flag, maybe. I mean, if this was our stalker story, we'd be hitting all the right marks.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really commit to it. Like, they show a scene of him mopping. He's half-assing it.
Yeah, no.
He's not going to get promoted. He finally plays the guitar for Willie. Proves to him that he's a blues man. Willie admits that he's Willie Brown and asks him to break him out of the nursing home. During this whole time, we find out that Eugene is a guitar prodigy. Right. I guess he's been on the guitar since 5 years old. He's in Juilliard. Is that where he's at, or something like that?
Yeah, he's in Juilliard, and his professor is very against him playing the blues.
Yeah, his professor seems like a horrible person and a horrible racist. Tries to discourage him from playing the blues and stick to that Mozart. That's where the money's at.
Yeah.
That's where your future's at, son.
Yeah.
Classical music. Right, in those big bucks.
Right. All the sponsorships.
Luckily for us, the viewer, Eugene doesn't listen to this guy. He's a blues man. I don't know how many times I gotta keep telling you. When you hear the name Eugene Martone, think blues man. Get me out of here. Willie talks him into breaking him out. It's a pretty funny scene. This is a hilarious movie. Joe Seneca is great. He plays the gripey old man, which is a trope I always find funny.
It's hilarious. It's universal. Like fart jokes.
I'm glad you find it funny because I'm turning into a gripey old man.
Yeah, you're hilarious.
I hope so. I hope I'm a funny gripey old man and not a mean one.
No, not at all.
They get on the road. You know, he tells Eugene he's got this money to get them down to Yazoo County, Mississippi, or Yazoo City. We've been through Yazoo.
Yeah, we did. We have been, yeah.
And it feels like the blues down there, I'll be honest.
That's way deep south.
You can feel old Legba walking around those old crossroads.
Way deep south. We did not stop at any crossroads when we were there.
No.
Just
and thus
blanket,
the low numbers
no
on our
crossroads.
podcast. My God, can you imagine selling yourself at the crossroads for a podcast?
Could I be the best podcaster?
I'd be hard up.
Mr. Beast, what happened?
They get on the road, and here, Margaret, you might want to close your ears. They come across Jamie Gertz. No, and what is a horribly gratuitous shot of her in her underwear. Like, there's no reason for this shot other than to show Jamie Gertz
Yeah.
from behind
Yeah.
in her underwear.
To be fair, okay.
I had to pause it several times just to point out to Margie how gratuitous and wrong the shot was.
Right. And I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I do. But okay, so in this instance, it does kind of further the story because she was changing in the abandoned house, and that immediately puts her on her guard.
That's true.
And to be fair, also the shots really weren't that gratuitous.
No, it was quick. Yeah.
It was pretty quick, and then they focus on her from like the waist up. So it was a quick shot and then on to the story. So I don't think it was a big attention grab. Yeah. And I think maybe it was actually meant to further the story.
Well, it's immediately followed by an intense knife fight between her and Willie.
Yeah, their epic knife fight ends in friendship, though, right?
It does. They all three bond. Although at one point, Jamie Gertz, whose character's name is Francis, everyone has like a real old-timey name in this, Eugene and Francis. You can tell they're blues people. Well, she tells Eugene, hey man, maybe Willie's a con man, which apparently has never crossed Eugene's mind.
There's a naivete, you know what I'm talking about. There's a naivete.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. There's like I don't know, he's a bit, I don't know, he's just like this fresh-faced kind of well-to-do innocent, I guess, when he walks into this, in ways he's not, but he's kind of just unaware of the bigger, wider world when he starts out on this adventure with his new buddy, Willie Brown.
And he learns a lot, and Willie keeps telling him that. You've got some lightning. That's how he gets his nickname, Lightning Boy Martone. Mm-hmm. You can play, you've got some technical abilities, but you don't have the mileage or whatever it takes to actually play the blues. Until he has loved and lost Jamie Gertz. You know that's got to Hoyts, Margaret. And then he starts playing the guitar, and Willie's like, you got it, bud. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what you were missing, was just a big old hole in your heart.
That's right.
These are the real blues now.
That's right.
And then immediately after this, come to find out, he's got to play guitar against some guy named Jack Butler in Hades for his friend's soul.
Yeah.
And here is why everybody wants to beat up Ralph Macchio everywhere he goes in any movie. Because he's He is such a nice guy. We see him at Comic-Con. He's friendly, but he just has this smirk on his face that just makes you think he thinks he's better than I am. And right there, in the face of the devil, after irrefutable proof, I would call it, that the devil's real.
Right.
Just showing up there at the crossroads,
In a puff of
thunderclouds
smoke.
coming up. He goes, "Yeah, I'll play. I don't believe in any of this shit anyway."
Kablamo.
That's why Johnny trying to kick your face all the time.
Kablamo.
This cocky attitude.
Sure, he's my friend. I don't believe in any of this shit anyway.
Yeah, the devil literally shows up in a thundercloud, and is like, "Yeah, this is what I'm challenging you to do." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever."
That cockiness serves them well, because they get down there to the underworld in what's just a great scene. Like, it's set up as kind of this church, I guess, but kind of a parody of church. Everyone's dressed in black, and Steve Vai's up there drinking his booze and his 80s rocker gear, slinking around on his guitar, playing some pretty amazing riffs. Here comes Lightning Boy. The battle ensues, Margaret. I contend this is the best guitar duel ever filmed. What do you think?
I second the notion. I think so too. There is a moment. Let me just say this: Steve Vai is incredible in this.
She got Best Supporting Actor nod.
He absolutely should have won the Oscar for this. When there's a point where he tries to play Mozart and he drops to his knees, and you feel that man's pain. You feel that pain, and it's real.
Yeah, they're going back and forth, playing off each other. Finally, Steve Vai does this thing. He's twisting around, jumping around, hopping around. Willie looks down like this, all is lost moment. He doesn't think Lightning Boy can match it. That's when he decides to pull out the Mozart. Come to find out, that's all it ever took.
Yeah.
Forget the blues, his teacher was right. Mozart classical music is a superior brand. They can't play it in hell. He wins. Contract gets torn up. Everyone lives happily ever after, I think.
I don't know.
They don't go on too long after that. It's old-timey movie. Once it's over, they quit. Credits roll.
Yeah. Pretty much they go back up. They take the elevator back up, and then they're like, "Okay, well, let's go, let's hit the road then." All right.
One of my favorite parts of this movie, speaking of the Mozart, is when Eugene's playing the Mozart, however you do it. And Willie, who's been dancing along the whole time when they're playing blues and rock, is trying to dance to Mozart. Do you know what song that is he plays?
I don't. But you said trying, and I would contend that he's succeeding
Really, I'd say
at dancing
trying.
to Mozart.
All right, Margie, how many lightning bolts do you give Crossroads?
Out of how many?
10.
Out of 10. I'd give this one a 10 out of 10. I liked it.
Indeed, I give it 10 out of 10. Lightning bolts, lightning boys, whatever you want to give it. I was very happy to see that it held up and that a movie I loved did not make me want to hang my head in shame.
Right. I liked this one. Good job, guys. And I would totally watch this.
It's underrated. Not a lot of people, I think, remember this one. So, we highly recommend it. Great movie. But when we were watching it, there was the line where he tells Jamie Gertz, "You're not the first woman to cut me." Mm-hmm. I remember him saying a worse word there than woman. But apparently not. But I could have sworn that's what it was. Did I just remember it wrong? Or was it a Mandela Effect?
I think it was the Mandela Effect.
It could be.
Yeah.
This is something we've covered a lot on here. It's a lot of fun to do. Everyone's got their favorite ones. Please post yours in the comment. Mm-hmm. But like I said earlier, we decided to do some research on this. We put up a little package together for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got anything you want to say about it for you? Have Skeletor roll that beautiful bean footage?
No, I think we should have Skeletor roll it.
Roll it.
We've all been there. That moment when a familiar memory, something you've held on to for years, suddenly shatters like glass. A quote from a beloved movie, a famous logo, the spelling of a common word You know how it goes. You've seen it countless times, perhaps even quoted it yourself. But then you see it again, and it's different. Not just slightly off, but fundamentally, undeniably wrong. But the unsettling truth remains. Your memory, once a steadfast anchor in your personal history, has betrayed you. This isn't just about misremembering. This isn't about an honest mistake. For a growing number of people across the globe, this shared phenomenon, this collective cognitive dissonance, points to something far more profound. It's called the Mandela Effect, and it's turning our understanding of reality on its head. The name itself comes from a striking example: the widespread belief that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s. Many vividly recall news reports, eulogies, even their own reactions to his death. Yet Mandela was released from prison in 1990 and lived until 2013, becoming the president of South Africa. This isn't an isolated incident. Think of the Monopoly Man. You see him in your mind's eye right now. Top hat, fancy suit, and a monocle. Except he doesn't have a monocle. He never did. Or what about the iconic line from Star Wars, often quoted as Luke, "I am your father"?
I am your father.
The true line? No, I am your father.
No.
Even the beloved Berenstain Bears. For countless people, it's spelled Berenstein Bears. But check your old books. It's always been Berenstain. These aren't just quirks of memory. They are persistent, shared discrepancies that defy easy explanation. How could so many people, independently, share such a detailed yet demonstrably false memory? We've pretty much all heard of the Mandela Effect at this point, and probably all have our favorite ones. Post yours in the comments. Mine is Berenstain. It will always be Berenstain. But what is causing it? Here are some of the more prevalent theories, from the strange to the scientific. One of the most mind-bending theories attempting to explain the Mandela Effect plunges us headfirst into the realm of multiverse theory. This theory has become all the rage in pop culture. Think about the Marvel movies and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Great movie. The idea is not just one universe, but an infinite number of parallel universes, each subtly or dramatically different from our own. Every choice we make, every possibility, branches off into a new reality.
Now, how do you explain the multiverse to an average person? Take a look at radio. If you walk into your living room, how many radio stations are there in your living room? Hundreds of radio stations, right? But your radio is only tuned to one frequency, and that's why you hear only one station. But how many stations are there in principle in your living room? Hundreds of vibrations, okay? Now replace the radio with electrons. The electron is a wave.
In this breathtakingly vast cosmic landscape, the Mandela Effect isn't a glitch in our minds, but a momentary bleed-through from a neighboring dimension. Perhaps in another universe, the Monopoly Man does wear a monocle, and yet in another, Nelson Mandela did pass away decades earlier. Our consciousness for a fleeting moment might be slipping between these parallel realities, catching a glimpse of an alternate truth before snapping back to our original timeline. It's a concept that sounds like science fiction, yet the mathematical frameworks of quantum mechanics hint at its startling plausibility.
Let's go back in time when the whole universe was the size of a particle. What are the rules of quantum physics telling us? They're telling us that multiple universes could be popping in and out of existence.
But what if the shifts aren't accidental? What if something or someone is actively nudging our reality? This brings us to a more unsettling possibility. one that sparks intense debate and even fear, the involvement of a powerful, world-changing technology. And many speculate about the role of CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and home to the Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator, designed to smash subatomic particles together at incredible speeds, recreating conditions that existed moments after the Big Bang. Its stated goal is to unlock the deepest secrets of the universe, to understand the fundamental building blocks of reality. But for some, CERN represents something far more ominous.
Some believe that CERN is conducting experiments that have caused us to enter an alternate reality.
The sheer power of the collider, its ability to delve into the fundamental nature of existence, makes it a potent symbol for those who seek a tangible cause for the Mandela Effect. Why are so many people convinced that C-3PO never had a silver leg, or that there was a cornucopia in the Fruit of the Loom logo? There was.
What does the Fruit of the Loom logo look like? Now, I remember it like this.
The
but
cornucopia.
I think I remembering this one wrong, but I do remember it with the cornucopia for sure.
I remember it too.
100%.
Yes, 1,000%.
Wrong.
This
It's a collection of fruit. No cornucopia. I know that can't be right.
That's not right. No. Because I remember the ads when they would come out and wasn't somebody dressed like the cornucopia?
I don't know about that, but I've been really
Remember the guys?
fascinated by a kid. Fascinated, I tell you. That's all I think about, that cornucopia.
The Fruit of the Loom logo. Is it just our age catching up with us? What if it's something more? What if the universe itself is a grand illusion, a meticulously crafted computer program?
I know of no one who has ever made this claim before, but I rather suspect that my experience is not unique. What perhaps is unique is the fact that I'm willing to talk about it. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present. Déjà vu.
What I'm not saying is we have evidence that the whole universe was constructed by a programmer. I'm not saying that. The sense the universe looks like, it behaves like a quantum computer.
This is the premise of the simulation theory. Within this framework, the Mandela Effect isn't a human error, but something far more profound, a glitch in the Matrix. Philosopher Nick Bostrom famously championed this idea in 2003. He posited that a technologically advanced post-human civilization with immense computing power could create countless ancestor simulations, high-fidelity recreations of past lives, indistinguishable from reality for those living within them. If even a small percentage of such civilizations ran these simulations, the number of simulated beings would vastly outweigh the original biological ones. This leads to Bostrom's chilling trilemma, where one of three propositions must almost certainly be true. 1, humanity will likely go extinct before reaching a post-human stage capable of running such simulations.
That almost all civilizations at our stage of technological development go extinct before they reach technological maturity. So that's the first possibility.
Advanced civilizations chose not to create simulations of their evolutionary history. We are almost certainly living in a simulation.
So then some non-trivial fraction of civilizations at our stage eventually reach technological maturity. Then suppose the second possibility also does not obtain. So some non-negligible fraction of those mature civilizations are still interested in using the resources to running ancestor simulations. You can show that if the first two possibilities do not obtain, then there will be many, many more simulated people like us, then there will be non-simulated people like us.
Of course, this is just a theory and has not been proven. Many respectable scientists dismiss it out of hand. If it's unprovable, it's not worth studying, is one mantra. However, this isn't as fringe of an idea as it used to be, due in large part to Nick Bostrom's work. Many scientists are now taking it seriously.
Tonight's topic is the universe a computer simulation?
Within this simulated reality, the Mandela Effect takes on new digital meaning. It's seen as a subtle patch or update being applied to the simulation, or inconsistencies arising as the simulation creaks a little. Shared false memories become code rewrites, patches, or data corruption within the simulation.
Has it been Stouffer's stovetop to you growing up, or has it been Kraft stovetop? It's always been Stouffer's. But guess what? It hasn't been. It's always been Kraft.
Within the simulated reality, Mandela effects are interpreted as side effects of background updates or memory resynchronizations, leaving behind ghost memories or patch notes in the code of reality. Despite its captivating nature, the simulation hypothesis has rarely been scientifically investigated due to its perceived unfalsifiability. Yet there are tantalizing proposals for testing it. And if you all would like, we can get more into the simulation theory in a future video. Just let us know down below.
And what I've come to understand is that there are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. And it's even more bizarre than that, because when you then try to understand these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the matrix or not.
While the cosmic theories of CERN and simulation glitches are undeniably captivating, the most grounded and scientifically supported explanations for the Mandela effect lie much closer to home, with the astonishing yet inherently fallible mechanisms of the human mind. Memory, it turns out, is not a perfect, immutable recording. It is a highly malleable, subjective process constantly liable to be influenced and rewritten. False memories are a fascinating and common aspect of human cognition. These are recollections that feel real, often vividly so, but they're fabricated in part or in whole. And they don't signal a disorder, but rather the normal, reconstructed nature of our brains.
The more we learn about memory, the more we realize how fallible it is.
Parodies, misquotations, memes, and widespread cultural osmosis can also become so pervasive that they overwrite the original in our minds.
Hello, Clarice.
Consider these examples. Darth Vader's iconic line, widely misquoted as, "Luke, I am your father." Often reinforced by parodies. The actual line is, "No, I am your father."
No.
The persistent belief that the Berenstain Bears were spelled Berenstein, perhaps influenced by common spelling patterns. The vivid memory of Monopoly Man wearing a monocle, an expectation based on his wealthy persona, probably. The role of cultural osmosis, parodies, and common misquotations reveals a powerful, self-reinforcing feedback loop. A minor inaccuracy, a humorous parody once introduced, can be repeated and disseminated widely through media, social interactions, and memes. Some say this repetition, combined with cognitive biases like suggestibility and confirmation bias, actively reinforces the false memory for an ever-growing audience, so that these false memories spread like a virus. Still, I clearly remember that Fruit of the Loom cornucopia. I'd bet money on it. There was a dude that was dressed in the costume. So Dan and I are going to be looking at some more Mandela effects, and we'll see what we remember. So let us know, again, let us know in the comments which ones freak you out the most, which ones you want to see us cover, and thank you.
Not sure I buy into the faulty memory thing. I know, just speaking for myself, I got a memory like a steel trap, Mallory.
Okay, let's talk about these Mandela effects.
We found some new ones. Like I said, we've done them a lot, but it's hard to find new ones we haven't covered. We did find some on a YouTube channel called 42 Seconds of Horror.
The very first Mandela effect I do want to go ahead and talk about is the American eagle. Now, if you were like me and thought that the American bald eagle was the United States national bird for centuries, ever since the 1700s, well, we both were wrong. Because
we both remember being told that the bald eagle was the national bird, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I can remember the teacher telling me about it, or telling the class about it. Vividly.
I remember two things. So I had one of the sticker books that were very popular back in the 80s. I had a sticker book that had patriotic, they had all different kinds, versions and whatever, but I remember a patriotic one where you had to lick the back of it and stick in the book, and there was the U.S. bird, the bird of the USA, the flag of the USA, the this of the USA, and that was one of them. Mm-hmm. That's one. And the second thing I remember is learning a bit of trivia about the national bird and about how Ben Franklin had wanted to make it a turkey at first. And then they voted, whoever it was, whatever bird committee, voted that out. And we're like, no, the eagle is what it is because it's...
I got that exact same bit of trivia, yeah, about Ben Franklin and wanted the turkey because he thought it was majestic. But instead, I don't know, maybe George Washington overruled him or somebody and says, it's going to be the bald eagle, man.
Yeah.
That turkey is pretty majestic. And you, hit like and subscribe, turkeys.
Right.
Jive, turkeys. All right, Margie. This next one is about a painting. You're more of an art historian than I am, so I'll bow to your remembrance of this one. But I do remember it, I guess, wrong. I'm in the wrong universe, I say, but apparently I'm wrong about this painting.
With your mind being the steel trap that it is, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Mandela Effect on the list really weirded me out, and it has to do with the 1930 oil painting American Gothic.
There's a 90-year-old
by
woman
American
behind that
artist
blur.
Grant Wood.
I guarantee it.
For most of us that remember this painting, we know of this older gentleman here holding this pitchfork, and standing right next to him is his older wife with gray hair in a bun, also facing forward. You can probably imagine that right now. But apparently that is never how the painting looked. Saying that this older gentleman is a much younger woman who happens to be his daughter. No longer is it his wife. What is even more interesting is that out of nowhere...
So we've talked about this one. Can you tell me what you remember about this? Because you do remember it correctly, right?
I do. I know that this was kind of controversial before. I knew it was, something. And actually, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that this artist actually clarified because so many people did get it wrong. They thought that he had painted the farmer and his wife, and it is actually his daughter. And I believe that they ran their actual photograph in the paper along with the painting to show, like, this was the farmer and the daughter that he painted.
Here is something interesting about this one. Kind of. I ran this one through Reddit, as one does, to see what, people are saying. And someone had posted that this one really got to them, and they had found proof that this used to be an older woman looking forward. Here, and here, with all links. Every one of those links. This picture, this video, no longer available. Ooh.
Well.
Probably, I'm remembering a parody, because I know there are a lot of parodies about this. So that's probably what I remember more than the original and that's probably what a lot of people remember.
Possibly.
Honestly. Yeah.
Possibly.
Because I think there was a Warner Brothers cartoon or something where, whatever.
Or maybe it was that bird committee we were talking about.
Yeah.
George Washington was on.
The Illuminati and the Bird Committee, the two groups that are ruling the world.
That's right.
This one freaks me the fudge out. Freaked my brother-in-law out when I told him about it. It's going to freak you people out, you old school gamers. Take a listen to this.
This next creepy Mandela effect, almost everybody had an original Nintendo. If you did not own one, you knew somebody that did. One of the things that I specifically remember about the original Nintendo is that in order to play a game, you had to open up the lid, you had to push the game in, of course, and then you had to press the game down and press the power button on. That was the only way to get a game to start. Now, there were other iterations of the NES that were created where you did not have to do this, but apparently, come to find out, you never had to do this in any version of the NES system. This is perhaps one of the creepiest Mandela effects to me besides the CERN one, because I remember this like it was yesterday.
I do too. I can remember blowing on that cartridge, pushing it in there, pushing it down, turning it on, still not working, pushing it out to get it to come back out, pulling it out, blowing on it again, which I don't care what they say, that worked about 50% of the time.
Sure it did.
Sticking it back in, pushing it down. Yeah, this one, I'm with this fella. I remember this clearly.
I do too. You could not. I remember clearly having a system that would not work unless you engaged it by pushing it down.
Yeah.
And sometimes we did that with extreme force, depending on how many times we put that sucker in there before. Yeah. But yeah, no, you always had to push it down. I thought this kind of blew my mind.
Yeah. There's a whole song about it. Push it real good. If you remember that one?
Yeah.
Salt and Pepper.
Very famous.
Now they say that song's about something else, but that's how I remember it.
No, it's about the Nintendo Entertainment System.
We've responded to a video from this lady before who talked about Ed McMahon. That's when we found out that he had been deleted, actually. Okay. This time, she's saying that they've deleted Richard Simmons' headband and I guess the sweatbands you put around your wrist.
Right.
I don't feel super strongly about this one. Although I do remember him with the headband.
I do.
Right.
I do feel a little bit strongly about this one. And yes, they did delete it. Look at our very own your very own Funko.
That's true, yeah.
Of Richard
Wait until
Simmons.
she finds out Richard Simmons never wore a headband. Stop. What do you think they did? Like, went through the whole internet and scrubbed every photo of Richard Simmons ever wearing a headband? That's crazy.
Now, what's your theory?
Okay. My theory is this, and I think it's backed up by these photos.
Okay.
If you notice in these photos, he is a little bit older in each one. Mm-hmm. I think he was wearing a headband when he was uber popular in the 80s and when he did his exercise videos.
Okay.
And I think he phased that out of his look after a while. And we were then with this Richard Simmons and this Richard Simmons that did not have the headband because he was like, that's not cool anymore. I'm phasing that out.
And you think that there just so happens to be no pictures anywhere on the internet of this 80s Richard Simmons?
Maybe it was like a bad thing for him and he was like, you know what?
Wake up, woman, it was CERN!
You mean they deleted his headband?
Yes!
Just like they deleted Ed McMahon.
Yes!
God bless
They're in the
America.
same place now. What celebrity do you remember handing out big $1 million checks going door to door?
Ed McMahon.
Wrong. Watch this.
Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes. And if you won, Ed McMahon came to your house with balloons and a big check and gave you a bunch of money. And now everyone in the world is trying to tell us that never happened.
So you're telling me there was no Ed McMahon?
I remember Ed McMahon giving out those checks clearly.
I do too. Balloons.
We're
confetti.
Wrong. All of Generation X is wrong.
Hey everyone, it's Howie from The Prize Patrol with a fun fact that may surprise you. Did you know that the late Ed McMahon never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse?
CERN did it again. They smashed the atom and deleted Ed McMahon.
Hey-o!
You would actually walk up to people's doorsteps and give them the check?
Oh, yeah. It's a wonderful feeling, you know, to give somebody $1 million.
All joking aside, this one freaks me out.
Okay.
I was a big Bible reader as a kid. Why? Because we had Bible trivia every Sunday in Sunday school, and if you won, you got a candy bar, and I was very food motivated as a child.
I'm still food motivated.
I'm pretty food motivated myself. Yes. And so I would always win, and I just remember this verse. Everyone remembers it this way, just about. This is the freakiest one to me. Okay. You ready for this thing?
Maybe.
is that there are also biblical Mandela effects as well. People are noticing that there are certain parts of the Bible that have been changing as well. For instance, this video comes from Grace Unfiltered on TikTok.
If you've ever went to church or read the Bible, you might have remembered a certain portion of scripture where it's talking about the paradise, and that there would be a specific animal laying next to the lamb. If you're like me, that animal that would be laying next to the lamb, it's none other than a lion. I not only remember reading this, but I've taught about it. But guess what? That ain't what the scripture says. It's a wolf. A wolf shall dwell with the lamb.
That won me at least
when
one candy
did that ever happen? When?
That ain't right.
Reciting it as the lion won you the candy bar, right?
Yes. The lion shall lay down with the lamb. Okay. Everybody knows it. It's famous.
Right. Yeah, I don't understand. The only explanation that I could come up with, and it's thin, is that I don't know whether it's thin or not. You tell me. Is that there have been published several versions of the Bible.
That makes sense, and that would make sense. A lot of things have been changed, words and translation. All we used at my church was the King James Version, and that's all anybody I knew back then used. It was, quote unquote, the official version for, like, the Southern Baptist or the Pentecostals or whoever. And it was the lion shall lay down with the lamb. There was no wolf.
Well then.
Let us know in the comments the one that freaks you out the most, if any. What do you think is going on? Do you think it's just we're all getting older and misremembering things? Working each other up into a tizzy? Us Gen Xers talking about how they're changing our past? Is that what we're doing?
I don't think so. I think it's all true. I think we need to batten down the hatches.
Hit like and subscribe, folks.
Yeah. If your minds are blown, you need to hit like and subscribe right now.
That's right. We're coming up on 2,000 subscribers, and if we hit it, we're going to do a live 2,000 subscriber special.
Are we?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Later, taters.
Bye, guys.